Hello everyone, like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our Discord server. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Now, this video is going to be about Cardano and about Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin is boring, I know nobody watches my Bitcoin videos, but we have to talk about Bitcoin because at the end of the day, whatever Bitcoin does, Cardano follows it. Now, before we talk about that, we first have to talk about the Cardano Elliott wave count. So as you can see, we got to about $1.15 right here, and we are now getting rejected by that level, which is not concerning, but this shows us that maybe this is actually an ABC structure or a WXY structure. So yeah, this structure is still accurate, at least yet, and of course the potential of us getting another high in the fifth wave has not been invalidated. To invalidate that, we would need a break below this high right here, which is at 84.9 cents. If we get a break below that level, then we will most likely get a much bigger correction, which could put us at these extensions right here, so somewhere between, let's say, 66.9 cents and 56.5 cents. This would be the second wave move down correction, and keep in mind this could happen very fast. This does not have to take days or weeks. If you can remember what I told you in my previous videos, in the previous cycle this literally took like 2 days, and yeah, Cardano went down like 30% in 2 days, and then after that it continued going up. So don't expect the second wave move down to take ages, expect it to happen very fast. If it starts now, then it should get done, and let's say at most a week or so. However, there is the possibility that we are still heading in the fifth wave right here, and to confirm that we have to first get above this high right here. That will pretty much invalidate the scenario of the WXY structure. Now, it would not completely invalidate it because you could theoretically say that this is an overshooting B wave or an X wave if you wanted to. But to me, it would invalidate it because, if we go higher and higher, we will get to these extensions in the fifth wave, and that would just complete the fifth wave. That will not look like an overshooting B wave. So, yeah. Now, to confirm that something more bullish is going on and that we will get another high in the fifth wave move up, we need to get to $1.21, which is the 200% extension of this 1-2 setup right here. Well, actually of this 1-2 setup right here, and that will complete the third wave of the fifth wave up here. And of course, we will need a fourth and a fifth after that, and that will complete everything. So I'm still expecting some type of correction. I just don't know when it will happen. I don't know if it will happen now or if it will happen after we get to like $1.45. To be honest, it does not really matter. I just know that at some point Cardano will drop. Now, will it drop right now? Well, I don't know, because if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin does not really look like it wants to drop right now. Let me put the Fibonacci on the chart again. So here we go, and the Elliott wave as well. So Bitcoin is still in a third wave move to the upside right here, and honestly it could just overextend. And if you look at the Bitcoin monthly returns chart, as you can see, this month Bitcoin went up 37%. Now, if you check out what happened in the previous halving years, this would not surprise you. As you can see, in 2020 we went up 43% in November, and in 2016 we went up 6%. But if you check out the other years, for example 2017, here we went up 54%, in 2015 we went up 20%, in 2014 we went up 12%, and in 2013 we went up almost 450%. So as you can see, on average, November is usually a good month for Bitcoin. And not only November, but December as well. Now, of course, if you watched my videos in July or August, you would know that this does not really surprise me, because I did predict that something like this will happen again. We have been looking at this chart for many months now, so this is not really a surprise. And I'm still expecting December to be a bullish month, just like 2020 was. As you can see, in 2020, after November was already a good month, and after we went up 43% there, we still proceeded to go up another 47% in December. And in 2016, after we only went up 6% in November, we went up like 30% in December. So on average, during the halving years in December, we go up about 30% or so. So if that happens again, that will obviously put Bitcoin at new all-time highs, maybe at like 120k, maybe even 130k, and that could overextend the third wave right here. I also want to talk about something entirely different, and let's go on the monthly chart for this. Well, actually, before I look at this, let me look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, because something extremely important happened there. Let's zoom in on this. Let's go on the 4-hour chart. As you can see, Bitcoin dominance just broke below the bull market support band, and I think this pretty much confirms that the top is in. Now, of course, it does not 100% confirm it, because as you can see, we got below it here and here and here and here, so we kind of have to stay below it for, let's say, a week or two to be able to confirm that. And honestly, a 100% confirmation that we have topped would be if we drop to like 55% or so. So if we drop to that level, then yeah, I think the altcoin season will most likely start earlier than it did in the previous cycle, and I don't think we will get another cycle high in December like we got right here. Now keep in mind, if you look at what happened after the 2016 halving, which was the second halving, 240 days after the halving, Bitcoin dominance pretty much started going down like crazy, and that's when we had the first altcoin season. So keep that in mind, 240 days. If you check out the 2020 halving, after the 2020 halving, 230 days after the 2020 halving, Bitcoin dominance stopped, and that's when the altcoin season started. And if you look at this year, in this year we also had a halving, and when was that? It was about 220 days ago. And what do you know? It's the exact same time as this and as this. So maybe we have topped, and maybe we are just following what we did in the previous cycle. I mean, as you can see, Bitcoin dominance usually tops about 230 days after the halving, and it has been 220 days right now, and we seem to have topped, in my opinion. To confirm that we have topped, like I said, we need to continue going down, and we need to continue going down in December, which means that there is potential for the altcoin season to start in December and not in January. And if that happens, then I don't know if Cardano will actually get any kind of second wave move down. I mean, maybe the second wave move down is already in somewhere here. That would not really, look good, but at the end of the day, Cardano has not even been in an altcoin season yet, and it's already going up like crazy. So imagine what will happen when Bitcoin dominance finally drops like 5 to 10% a week, and maybe gets to like 40% in a matter of months. That would just make the altcoin market go absolutely insane, and like I said, this will most likely be the biggest altcoin season so far, just because Bitcoin will be at a much larger market cap. Now, speaking of Bitcoin, let me talk about what I wanted to talk about earlier. Let me get rid of some stuff from the chart, and let's go on the monthly chart for this. So this is also about the halving. I wanted to look at what happened after each halving. So after the first halving, it took Bitcoin about 365 days to top, and during that time, it went up about 9,500% from the halving. In the second halving, it took Bitcoin about 549 days to top, and it went up about 2,600%. So as you can see, there are diminishing returns. Now let's continue. In the 2020 halving, it took about 549 days for Bitcoin to top after the halving, just like it did over here, and Bitcoin went up 855% during that time. Again, diminishing returns. Now, what happens if you divide 2,646 by 855? You get 3x, so you get the number 3. What does that mean? Well, after the 2020 halving, Bitcoin went up 3 times less than it did in the 2016 halving. Is that a bad thing? Not really, considering the fact that the market cap keeps getting larger and larger. Now let's check out what happened between 2012 and 2016. As you can see here, we have 9,500% and here we have 2,600%. What if we divide 9,572 by 2,646? We get 3.6. So as you can see, the 2020 cycle underperformed compared to the first cycle, because in the second cycle, Bitcoin only went up 3.6 times less than in the first cycle. So as you can see, the 2020 cycle actually overperformed the 2016 cycle, because in 2020 we went up 3 times less than what we did in 2016, but in 2016 we went up 3.5 times less than what we did in the first cycle. So theoretically you could say that the 2020 cycle was better than this cycle right here, only if you judge this based on what happened after the halving. Now, what could happen in 2025? Well, if we top after the exact same time as the previous two cycles, that puts us in October of 2025. So as you can see here, we topped after 549 days. Here we topped after 549 days. And right now in this cycle, if we want to top 548 days or 549 days after the halving, we need to top in October of 2025. Which means this cycle still has a long time left. Now, how much will the price go up? Well, if we base this on the other cycles, what if we divide 855 by 3? We get 285. Now, what does that mean? Well, from the halving to the all-time high, it is possible for Bitcoin to only go up 285%. Where would that put the price? Well, that would put the price at about $240,000. So that's why I believe getting to these levels is still very, very likely to happen in this cycle. And that's why I believe that we have not topped already, and it would not make sense to top so early. There is still almost 1 year left of this cycle. And I believe Bitcoin has potential to go up much higher than what it did so far. Now, of course, if you look at the monthly RSI, you get another confirmation that we have not topped. As you can see here, the monthly RSI is barely overbought. Here in the previous cycle, it was extremely overbought. It was at an RSI of about 92, and in the 2016 cycle, it was at an RSI of like 96. Let's not even talk about the first cycle. So as you can see, Bitcoin usually goes crazy on the monthly RSI before it actually tops. And do you consider this to be crazy? I don't think this is anything compared to this or this, so I don't think the top is nowhere near close to being in. And I would not be shocked to see Bitcoin at like 300k in this cycle. It would not surprise me. And why is that important? Well, it's important because if Bitcoin gets to like 250k, then Cardano will easily be able to break its all-time highs and go to like $8 or so, easily. Just because whenever Bitcoin goes up and Bitcoin dominance goes down, that's when the altcoins get moves like this right here. Now keep in mind, when Cardano was getting this move, Bitcoin's market cap was not as large as it is right now, which means that these pumps that we got in the previous cycle could look like a joke very, very soon if we actually start pumping like crazy and if we get a real altcoin season very, very soon. So if this cycle is truly the best cycle yet for the altcoins, then what will happen in this cycle will make what happened in the previous cycle look like a joke. And I'm still waiting for that to happen. Just a reminder, I'm expecting Cardano to hit somewhere between $5 to $8 in this cycle, but it is possible for it to get like $12 in a more bullish scenario. So we'll see what happens with this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts. And if you want access to our Discord server, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.